The GOP tax plan continues to anger conservatives who are expecting a windfall on their 2018 returns. Now, it all started when Donald Jr. Was defending the tax cuts against recent criticism that the returns were not big enough. He said, quote, most middle-class Americans got tax cuts despite smaller early returns. The smaller refund checks were not indicators that taxes have gone up. For middle-class families with children, over 80% got tax cuts. Now, look, is that true? Look, yes, there are people that got tax cuts. The problem is that what was cut for the middle class was a mere pittance compared to the average tax cut of $63,000 a year that the top 1% received. So when it comes to who got their taxes cut more, wealthy people made out like bandits thanks to the GOP tax law. In fact, the top 1.1% of Americans will save an average of more than $190,000 a year. Those corporate tax cuts, by the way, are permanent. And they have been a windfall for corporations that have used a lot of that money to go do stock buybacks, which help executives and shareholders, not regular workers. So, again, a majority of that tax cut went to benefit the ultra wealthy. Now, you want to compare that to the school teacher that was saving about $1.50 a week. And the average middle-class family, according to the Tax Foundation, is scheduled to get to save about $630 per year. Wow. What a great return compared to the ultra-rich. Come on, guys. This was barely a middle-class tax cut. A lot of their people also saw their taxes go up. In fact, this has a lot to do with some of the more popular deductions that were eliminated or reduced. For example, the personal exemption for large families. That was eliminated. It also put a limit on the amount you could deduct from state and local taxes, which has a really, really big impact on people living in high-tax states. Now, some of those high-tax states, like New York and California, are also some of the most populous states. So you have a ton of people there living in that area that can no longer deduct state and local taxes. That is a tax increase. So they did all that, raise taxes on a significant portion of the middle class. Also, they could lower the corporate tax the corporate tax rates to 21% and also lower rates on the very, very wealthy. Suffice to say, these changes did not sit well, even with conservatives, even with people who are Trump supporters. Now, I have some examples here. Save RIX says, love you, Donald Trump Jr., but I am getting effed in my tax return and had no way to prepare for it. Let me stop there. We told you that this was going to happen. We told you that you were not going to save money. We told you that the majority of the benefits went to the rich. It's not a middle-class tax cut. It's a tax cut for the wealthy. And it is a scam. But what did you say? Oh, no. Well, we don't believe the lying libs, the liberal, so-called liberal media. No, we don't believe any of that. And then what happens is exactly what we say is going to happen. And like, I didn't see it coming. Yeah, nobody told me. Nobody told me. They said it was going to be a middle-class tax cut. Turned out it wasn't a middle-class tax cut. It went to the rich. No kidding. Maybe you should stop listening to Fox News, which, by the way, Fox News is literally blaming these people for not getting a big tax return. Hey, it's your fault. You didn't adjust your withholdings. There's more. I'm not even done with that first tweet. Now, he said, they continued, first time I will owe in my life. I feel a bit cheated. I didn't even notice my paychecks were a bit bigger because I switched jobs at the beginning of the year. My guess is that you probably wouldn't have noticed anyway. Those savings per paycheck are significant. Maybe at most a cup of coffee a week. That is not a big tax cut for the middle class. There's more. Lee Brewer says, property tax and interest cap is putting us in the minus. And he points out that he is an upstate New Yorker which of course you don't have that deduction anymore for state and local taxes. Betsy Obrachta says, here in Ohio too, add the other deductions removed, i.e. home office for one in our case, and it's a loss. Sorry, Junior, but you've got this wrong. Mark Perez says, Donald Trump Jr. need to get the working class a bigger pay raise and a bigger tax refund. Maybe better healthcare and prescription drug cuts. Get them hashtag Trump 2020 votes. Well, you know what? A lot of that stuff actually sounds pretty good. I'm in favor of middle class tax cuts. I'm in favor of pay raises and bigger tax refunds, better healthcare and lower prescription drug prices. I want all those things. Well, the problem is that Donald Trump, the Republicans, they don't actually care about the working class. What they do is that they use them for votes. No. See, here's the thing. Whatever happened to that 10% tax cut that Trump came out with after the Trump tax scam went through? He's like, I'm proposing an additional 10% tax cut for the middle class. But wait, didn't you just say that you passed a middle class tax cut? Oh, right. Now you're admitting that it wasn't actually for the middle class, and we haven't heard anything about it since. So it wasn't a middle class tax cut. You admitted it, and now you put forward another tax cut for the middle class that you didn't push whatsoever. They don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. Prescription drug prices. None of the plans put forward by the Trump administration, by Republicans, will do anything to lower prescription drug prices. In fact, the prices of prescription drugs have actually increased. He's not doing anything for that. What about wages? Wages are still flat and stagnant. Even after these gigantic tax cuts, which these companies put it back in their pockets. They went and bought back their own stock, and they used that money to inflate the values of their shares, which of course then they can sell off and pocket the difference and make tons and tons and tons of money. That's what they did. They didn't raise your wages. They gave some bonuses out, which were actually fairly little compared to the amount that they saved in taxes. And of course, most of that money obviously went back to them. And we warned them about that too. So we've done this before. We've seen this movie. We've tried trickle down before. And guess what? It never works. You know, I guess the image that you get from trickle down is the wine glasses, right? All stacked on each other. Well, their wine glass on the top keeps getting bigger. It does not flow downward. It never does. And when will people start understanding that? But anyway, there's more. Lance Rothenberg says, personal exemptions gone, itemized deductions capped and done away with. Converting from itemized deduction to the standard deduction means tax increase. The middle class gets screwed. So that's interesting because part of the legislation, that tax law is, well, they doubled the standard deduction from $12,000 for a married couple to $24,000, right? And I think it was $6,000 to $12,000 for single adults. Apparently, itemized deductions, while a little bit more difficult to do, and of course with tax preparers, which by the way, in the old tax system, you actually got a deduction for using tax preparers. That was also eliminated, but they said, well, we're going to make it easier for you to take the standard deduction. But in some cases, itemized deductions actually will save you more. So without that ability to do that, some people end up paying more in taxes. So that's what you have. Now, this next tweet addresses what Charles Payne had talked about yesterday on his show about increasing withholdings. Ron Redigo says, when the changes were abounded, I doubled my extra withholdings. I got back $200 less than before. Explain that. Well, I can explain it. You got screwed. All while corporations got billions of dollars in tax cuts. Even the bankers took $21 billion home in savings. And again, with just like we saw with other jobs, other corporations that get giant tax cuts, the banks, They actually cut jobs and have loaned out less money. They're even stingier with their money than they were before. And of course, what's the worst is that we warned you about this. We told you what was going to happen. More. One more here. Michelle. She says, just thinks we got way less, like $6,000 less. I get it. Just we used and depended on that money for our kids' schooling. Now that's sad because you expected a return. You're not going to get a return. But here's what is maddening about this. They say, keep on fighting. We live on Long Island in New York, and I feel we pay for the entire state. That right there shows you how no matter how many facts you come at them with, and how you can show them how this tax cut was not geared towards them, but to the very wealthy, there will still be people out there that say, no, I don't agree with facts. I mean, even though there's literal proof out here that Donald Trump and the GOP lied about their tax plan, helping the middle class, and not being a boon for the rich, people still don't believe it. They believe, oh no, this was going to help me. And well, it turned out that it didn't, but that's okay. Donald Trump still has the best, he's the best president, and he's working so hard, and he's working for us. But you just have proof that he's not working for you. I mean, they're absolute unabashed liars. They lied to your face, they took your money, and they gave it right to the rich so they can afford another yacht. It's not the poor, the people who are powerless, that are robbing you. It's the powerful. They are taking your money and they are passing laws in order to take your money. Never vote for Republicans. This is why you shouldn't. Because they will lie to you, they will rob you, and they will take that money and they will give it to the rich. That's what they always do. When will you learn? Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.